Good afternoon and welcome to the Living Well program. You can find us here every Wednesday at 1 p.m. on KATB 89.3 in Anchorage as well as KJLP 88.0 Palmer. You can also find us online and listen there at katb.org. And please be sure to follow us on our Facebook page at Living Well Radio, and also find us on iTunes. You can now download the Living Well podcast, so we look forward to connecting with you there. Please leave us a review and any suggestions you might have for future shows. We would love to hear from you. My name is Cammie, and I'm here with Betty.
Hello.
Backwards, Betty.
Oh, I'm already laughing and we haven't even started the show.
I know it. We are just cracking up over here. I was trying to tell Betty she had her headphones on backwards, but she says she prefers them that way.
I do. The cord's not wrapped around my neck that way.
We would not want that, would we?
Nope, and nobody knows, but now everybody knows.
Yes, well, secret's out.
It is.
So how are things going for you lately, Betty, as we come to the end of summer?
Can you believe it?
No. I don't really want to talk about it, but we have to.
But the fair's in town.
Reality.
The fair is in town.
Yes.
Well, it will be soon.
As soon as it rains.
Yes, as soon as it rains.
Well, we are super excited once again. We're always excited. I mean, what else can you say when you're getting ready to do a Living Well radio
right.
show? And
especially today. It's just who knows what's going to happen.
It's so unpredictable. I mean,
yes.
Typically we have guests come in, they're a little bit unsure. I won't even say nervous, just unsure about what's going to go on. And
not this one.
No, he just comes right in, puts his feet up on the soundboard. Oh, I mean, footstool,
Table.
Tom. The footstool, Tom.
I took my shoes off first.
This is true. And he still has his shoes off.
See? There you go.
Kick back, relax, just not a word
Drinking
in the
his
world.
coffee.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that unfamiliar voice in the studio today is Reverend Brian Dunfee.
The Reverend.
Yes. We're excited to have you be joining us today. He is going to be talking to us about Recovery Alaska, just an awesome and much needed ministry here in the state of Alaska, and be telling you all how you can get in touch with him there. But also, he's got a personal story and a testimony that he's just willing to come in today and enlighten us all with. So we appreciate you coming. Welcome to the show, Brian.
Good morning.
Yes, welcome. I think it's afternoon.
Okay.
Already.
It's morning somewhere.
Somewhere.
Somewhere it is. This is true. So to get us started with today's show, Brian, go ahead and just tell us a little bit about yourself, your family, how long you've been in Alaska.
I was, I don't know, 6 or 7. My folks moved to Alaska, and so been here a long time. Got to escape for a few years, finish up college, and then came back. So I have a wife, Carol, and she's awesome, and we have 3 kids. Caitlin, the oldest, and Caitlin's the middle child.
the oldest.
Rebecca's the oldest. They're all somewhere in there. And then Ross, our son.
Just
he's
give the
youngest.
range. It's fine.
Yeah.
Big to small.
There's a few of them. Yeah.
What brought you back to Alaska?
I got a phone call. They needed assistance here at ABT on the technical side of things, and so we were able to come back and serve in the ministry here.
And you do a fantastic job.
Yes, he
Oh,
does.
thank you.
He's over the sound.
Yep. Sound and
And-
lighting there in the auditorium.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we
So
always see him up there in the little sound area, pushing buttons
it's a lot of fun.
and very relaxed. There's no pressure in that job.
None whatsoever.
No, and he's always got it all under control.
Yes.
I have never seen him or anybody else on his team run up and down the stairs or down the alleys, the
Yes.
rows, with an extra microphone or an extra battery. I've never seen that happen.
It
Yeah,
has
no.
its moments.
I bet those are your favorite moments where you get
Oh.
to enter the stage.
Bliss. Yes.
I bet you look forward to. You just can hardly wait till the next one.
You know, that's one of the things about being involved in the technical side of things is that you get to stay away from the stage, and you're involved in ministry and serving the Lord and all that kind of stuff. You just, God's called me to the safe side of the stage. The people that are on the stage, the worship pastors, the musicians, and the people speaking and all that, that's a whole different world. So, yeah, I'm on the safe end.
Most of the time.
Safe-ish.
And as if that wasn't a full plate, because I know it is. You put in a lot of hours serving in that capacity, working in that capacity, and now you do Recovery Alaska.
Right. Yeah.
How did you find time in your schedule to add another role?
I got permission from my wife.
Did you?
I was a good husband and checked with her first.
Well, actually, I did text her and ask her if you were available
Oh,
to do the show today.
see? She schedules me for everything she wants me to be at.
Where else do we need him to go, Betty?
I don't know. Maybe we'll have another place or two before it's over with.
So before we kind of dive into the details of things, Brian, you also enjoy photography.
I do. It's my escape. It's a lot of fun.
How long have you been doing that?
Long time. I took photography classes in high school, and stayed with it basically ever since. So,
What's your favorite thing to photograph?
I like chasing the aurora. Although that's my favorite thing in the winter. In the summer, it's fun chasing bears. So
You've had some good pictures.
Yeah, he has.
yeah, there's a few stories. Yeah.
Have you ever been in danger?
I've had them grunt at me a few times, and when you get within 20 feet or so of a bear, that's
a
plenty
bit too
close.
close.
Is that
for
when
me.
they stick their tongue out at you?
Yeah, thinking I look delicious, I guess.
Do you have a photography Facebook page where people can follow you in which you're photographing, or?
It's just my personal Facebook page. I just post a bunch of pictures and stuff on there. So.
Okay, so if you're interested in checking those out, look up Brian Dunfee here in
What do you
Anchorage.
What do you
There
do
you
with
go.
all of your photographs?
For me, it's an escape. It really is. I like, just being able to unplug. A good hobby that it's fun to share. I can share the results of with friends and that type of a thing, and I enjoy training and teaching people, and so again, it's just another outlet to be able to make some great small group type friendships, relationships, and have a lot of fun. So I do have
I
a
have heard
website and all
stories
that, but
that you might possibly go out around midnight and come back around 3 or 4 in the morning,
yeah, that's true.
especially in the winter,
Yes,
searching for the perfect shot of the aurora.
it is a lot of fun. It's great because it doesn't really compete with family time.
They're all in bed.
That's right. Yeah, because they have common sense. Me, on the other hand,
Where have you
I don't
found-
feel like sleeping. So
Where have you found the best place to see the aurora?
It depends on what you're looking for. If you're here in Anchorage, there's some good places. You can go up to the the parking lot where you start climbing Flat Top. You can see the aurora there, or drive out of the city lights of Anchorage. 45 minutes, head towards Palmer Wasilla. There's a lot of places that you can get out of the city lights real fast.
Would you believe I had never seen it until last September? I was at a ladies' retreat up at Hatcher's Pass,
Yeah.
and it was cold, so cold up there. And all of a sudden, people started yelling, they're out, come look. And so I went outside, and they were dancing everywhere.
Yeah.
All the colors, and you could hear them, and I'd never heard them.
Yeah.
It was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, and I enjoy. That's one of my favorite places is Hatcher Pass. In fact, that's where I proposed to Carol.
Really?
Was
Aw.
Hatcher Pass. Yeah.
So it has a special meaning.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
That was
sweet.
great. Yeah, it was the stroke of midnight going into year 2000. Everybody's all freaking out because the end of the world is nigh, and we're all gonna have to have generators. Elevators aren't gonna work anymore, and all that kind of stuff. And so we were with some friends and drove up to Hatcher's Pass. Had aurora overhead, and at the stroke of midnight, I proposed to Carol.
Did anybody get a
Aw.
picture?
I don't think so. I don't know that we did.
Well, I'm impressed. That was very sweet.
Yes, that is really
Okay.
cool.
And figured that's enough romance, and I don't have to worry about it for the rest of our relationship. So we're good to go.
They say that times of solitude I don't know, times of solitude are important in our walk with the Lord, just to get out there in the quietness. How does God
Absolutely.
speak to you in those moments when you're out there photographing his creation?
It is great because you can have a good conversation with God, and you can see the environment that he created for us. The proof of his existence, the way that all this stuff just comes together. You look at the science and everything that we've discovered behind all of this, and it is absolutely amazing. And there's no way to say that this is all happening accidentally. I mean, this was created by design, with function, with purpose, and it's just amazing when you get away from the city lights, get out of Anchorage or any city, away from all the people, and just kind of go unplug for a few, and prayer life becomes awesome, and the Holy Spirit can just take that entire moment and bring lots of meaning to it.
Yeah, I would imagine so. A lesson for all of us to learn and implement into our lives, to find those times of solitude, because busyness can be loud.
Yep.
Very loud.
And it doesn't have to be at 3 a.m.
No.
I mean, if you want to, there's lots of time that, you can do that. Just kind of go out and unplug and, wind down a bit. So,
Brian, you had something fairly significant take place about 4 years ago in your life.
yes, I did.
Can you take us back to that day and tell us what you can remember?
Well, so I was actually out chasing Aurora, and it was 3 o'clock in the morning. I got home and crashed in bed, and I don't remember having a seizure, but my wife says I did, and apparently I stopped breathing, all that kind of stuff, and so she took care of me, and off we went to the emergency room, all that kind of thing, and they ran me through a bunch of tests, that kind of stuff, and discovered a cancerous brain tumor. So I do have a theory. I was that day, it was a Saturday, I was performing a wedding ceremony for a good friend of mine, and his wife insisted that I be in a suit and tie, and so my theory is that suits and ties cause brain cancer, and
I knew a joke
was
was
I
coming
knew
out
it.
of that.
I knew
So-
it couldn't be serious.
Only this guy could take that day and make a funny of it, huh?
I know.
well, you gotta
Do what
you
you
gotta
gotta
look
do.
back on
You
some
do,
stuff and,
yeah.
and laugh, but it was quite the experience. But there was still humor in it as well, though, because during that ceremony, I had scripted everything out, and we'd practiced a number of times, that type of a thing, and I'd done the whole copy and paste.
Wait. You still performed the wedding?
Yes, I did. We went to the hospital, and then I got out of there as soon as I could and got into the suit and tie again, in spite of it causing brain cancer, and performed the wedding. But I was real foggy, from the seizure and all the testing. I mean, it's just everything's spinning, and so I was reading my script very, very closely, and I can't tell you how many weddings I've been to, and I mean, all the lines and that kind of stuff. But I was having to really concentrate on what was going on, and I had copied and pasted all the, do you do this, solemnly swear, all that kind of stuff, and didn't change the whole husband and wife thing when it was the wife giving the information, or the husband giving the information. So I kind of messed that up. It was pretty funny. One line, I asked the husband if or the wife if she was going to take Jeff to be his wife or her wife, and it was just kind of funny at the time. We look back on it now, and we still laugh at that. They do too. Fortunately, they thought that was hilarious. But when you're going through tough times, you just there's a lot that you can get, can be very oppressive. You get at all this stuff. There's still elements of that you can look at and laugh at. God, I think, has a good sense of humor.
Yeah.
And there's things like that. You just got to focus on the good, and I mean, there's a story that we'll have for years and years and years. That
Did you get your diagnosis right away, or was there a waiting time?
Well, there was, my memory on that is not great. I lost a lot of memory
Okay.
because of the surgery and everything like that. If I remember correctly, we knew that day that there was a brain tumor. We didn't know if it was cancerous or not until actually they biopsied it. they removed the whole thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then sent it off to the lab and had it tested. So if I remember correctly, that's the way it was. So it was after the surgery that they said yes, this was cancerous. So
Do you remember how soon you had the surgery?
it was about 2 or 3 weeks later. They kicked it out pretty fast.
That was fast. That seems like a long time
Yeah.
to have to wait.
Yeah. Yeah. What was that time like? I know you say your memory's a little bit fuzzy of that, but what was that time like when you were kind of waiting for that to take place for you and your wife, your family?
A lot of stress, a lot of a lot of unknown. It's very odd going through all that stuff at the age that we were.
Very young.
I,
And
yeah,
your children were young.
I wasn't even in my 40s at the time, and so yeah, young kids, family dependent on my income, all that kind of stuff, and am I going to make it through the surgery? What you get all these questions, all this unknown, and God took care of us. There's a lot of comfort that He provided. At the time, it seemed very stressful. A lot of pressure, that type of thing. But even while we were going through it, we could feel His sense of comfort, His presence through all of this. Carol's got some amazing stories of how God helped her through all of this, and the community here at Anchorage Baptist Temple. The incredible support from them, and our friends, that type of a thing. So there was a lot of good support around us at the time that we went through all of this. So.
How did your daily life change, either right before the surgery or I guess probably right after? Take us there of how that impacted your routine.
Yeah, most of the change was right after. I had to shave all my hair off. That was kind of odd. And then, growing all back, it kind of came back and weird and different color. All kinds of just really odd things.
Really?
Yeah, I was more of a ginger before the surgery than after the surgery. So,
but also turning 40 sometimes will
that
get to it.
That could be part of it as well.
Because it wasn't the suit. You can't blame it on that this time.
Yeah.
He's thinking maybe.
But it took a couple of weeks before I could, get out of bed for several hours at a time, that type of thing. The recovery was odd. A lot of stuff that I had forgotten, and still to this day, a lot of things I don't remember from, a period of time in my past, that I kind of had to rebuild, had to kind of learn how to write again. That didn't take real long, but, like a lot of those associations, stuff that, I know I used to be able to do this, what's going on, that kind of stuff, and so that was tough to deal with. But I was able to return to work. I would come in with a hat over my head because I had this big huge scar with bandages and all the medical stuff up there still, and my eyes were really affected by the surgery. I don't know why, but they became very, very, very sensitive to light, and so I looking around like a jazz musician or something. I had my beanie hat, my black beanie on, so that I wasn't grossing anybody out with the the head cut, and then the black shades on. Even inside, fluorescent lights, they bother me now, and all that kind of stuff. And so it was kind of entertaining coming into a staff meeting the first time and having to have all that on, and everybody was sitting around me with their eyes really big going, who is this guy? They didn't even recognize me. And it was pretty entertaining. So that took a few weeks to get over that. And but there for a while, several months, I would get home from work and I would just crash on the couch. And, it took a lot to recover. Carol really, I have a wonderful wife because she had to really, take over absolutely everything. I was pretty much out of it, non-existent, for a good, probably a good year. So it was a tough.
If I remember
tough year
correctly,
for her.
though, you really came back to work fairly soon.
Yeah, but I had to dump everything that I was able to into those,
Mm-hmm.
those 8 hours of the day, and then by the time I got home, I was
Crushed.
done. Yeah. So
So, going back to those weeks of just transitioning into really a new normal, what did you feel God speaking to you just in your time with Him and going through those challenging times?
He's in control. We get
Mm-hmm.
the sense of, I was I think 38, 39 at the time, and I've got years and years and years ahead of me, and nothing's
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to depend on anybody else for assistance. I'm in control of absolutely everything, and that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, you go through this. I was not allowed to drive. Um, I was able to be awake for typically 10, 12 hours a day. I couldn't remember stuff. It, I kind of joke now that it was almost like a lobotomy, but I mean, my personality did change.
Hmm.
Through all that recovery, it was tough. I felt, very, very odd,
It had to be very frustrating,
Mhm.
and it was very
being a
frustrating.
man, being the head of your house.
Yeah, and not really being able to be that
Yeah.
person.
Mm-hmm.
That was tough to go through.
To know that you used to do it,
Yeah,
but now you just could not.
yeah. Couldn't wrestle with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had a big, huge chunk cut out of my skull, and yeah, you don't want to mess with that while it's healing.
I would say
so,
not.
Yeah.
But since then, you have recovered,
Mm-hmm.
and you're back to work full time, and you're doing your photography, and now you're involved in recovery ministry,
Yes,
and you seem to really, really enjoy it.
it is. It's a great place to serve. I really enjoy it. There's quite a number of people that come to that. There's plenty of room for more people. But it's a great opportunity to help people through, struggles just like what Carol and I came through. Some people associate it only with, the drugs and alcohol, or with, sex and those types of things. But I mean, there's a vast number of groups within our recovery ministry that specialize at helping people go through some of this stuff. And, God helped us through it. ABT helped us through it. And so we use what we learned to assist and help others through these kinds of
Mhm.
things.
I'm not sure I know the right word for this, but in recovery, I know that you have different sections or different
Right. Yep. There's
classes,
different groups within
different
recovery.
groups.
Yeah.
What groups we offer here?
There's sexual addiction for the guys. There's a support group for the wives of those guys. Drugs and alcohol, anger management, divorce care, death of a loved one or spouse. There's also some groups for teens struggling with this kind of stuff, depression, a lot of that. So,
For the drug and alcohol recovery, at what stage in recovery do they need to be in to be able to come to this group? Or is
any stage.
any stage?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when do you want to give our listeners when you meet and how they could do they have to contact you to be a part of, or do they show up?
Just drop on by. We're in room 207 at the Anchorage Baptist Temple on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock. And we all meet in 207. We get together and, have some time together, half hour or so. And then we break up into those groups so that, the majority of the evening is spent, targeting the issues that those people are struggling with,
And it meets year round,
Yes.
correct?
That's correct.
You don't take the summer off.
We do not. No, it is very active because, those struggles, they don't take the summer off either. People going through that stuff, they can't decide, you know what, I'm not going to deal with depression right now because it's summertime. The reality of it is, and we may not see that, in our normal interaction with people, we may not see what they're truly struggling with. everybody puts on a face, if you will, and presents themselves the way they want to be presented. So this is a good place a safe place to be able to come and meet with people who are going through the same thing, be instructed by people who have come through those issues and know what you're struggling with and can help you through this. So.
Well, I can attest to that because after my husband died, I thought I was going crazy. Yeah. I really thought I was losing my mind, and someone kept suggesting to me to do grief share through recovery, and I kept saying no. But finally, I was desperate. I needed someone that had been in this situation to be able to tell me that I was not losing my mind, and it was the biggest relief to hear people express that they had already been through the things that I was going through. And I actually took it twice. I went through it the first time, and it wasn't enough. I came back the next time.
That's not unusual. And we hear that a lot. And a lot of us, myself, when I go through, when I went through the cancer and that kind of stuff, I've never had to ask myself questions along those lines. I've never had to deal with that stuff. We find the same thing in recovery. People that are struggling with, depression or sexual addiction, drugs, alcohol, whatever, you name it. There's that thought of nobody else understands what I'm going through. Nobody's ever been through this before. This is just me. There's nobody out there that can help me. You become almost like isolated in your own little world bubble kind of thing. And the truth is that there's a lot of support.
Yes.
And the leadership that we have in place, people helping through these classes. They've come through this, so they know how these people feel, and know how much work and effort it takes to get through this. And the love and the care, compassion, the support, all of those critical elements are there, so you don't have to feel that nobody can help me through this. I'm isolated. I'm all by myself. There's nothing that that anybody can do to help. Those are lies of Satan.
They are, and that's exactly where he wants to keep people is in that isolation.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, it was life-saving for me to hear someone say that there's no time limit to grief, and
absolutely
everybody grieves differently.
Yes.
Nobody can say, well, how you're grieving is wrong and how she's grieving is right.
That's correct.
That just that helped me tremendously.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest blessings I had was this lady I knew that had lost her husband years ago. She did the class with me.
Yeah.
Just so I didn't have to go by myself.
And you know what? Those people are always welcome. Absolutely. If you can get a team together, that is great.
Yeah.
That's neat. That's a good friend right there. What a blessing.
And like you said, you had to go through it twice, and that's not uncommon. And a lot of this, depending on, what it is that you're struggling with, but there's guys
there's no shame in it.
Yeah, none whatsoever. And there's guys that have, they're still in those classes and have been in those classes for 20 years, and they still depend on the strength that those other people, the mentors, all of that bring to those recovery classes to help keep them going through day to day.
I do remember there was a workbook to do, and I was just not of the mindset that I could do a workbook. So I didn't answer any questions. I just went and listened. And so the next time that I took it, I was able to do the workbook, and it was a very big help to me.
Yep.
Out of all of the different groups that are offered, Brian, where are you seeing the greatest increase in need of areas of recovery?
Well, right now, one of the husband-wife teams that helped in with the sexual addiction, and then the wife support group, they were called by the Lord to move away to another ministry serving down in Texas. And so we are trying to find a replacement for them. If you could pray, God brings the right person in for that. It takes a special person to be able to help deal with all of that. So
And preferably, I mean, you'd like a husband and wife team, or preferably two women that could kind of partner in that ministry. But you'll take whomever
Right.
might feel called.
The guys, they all stay with the guys. Gals all stay with the gals. We
Okay.
keep her separate because there's needs
Yes.
that are unique to both sides. Yeah, it'd be great if we could have a couple of ladies that would be able to help us out through that.
One more time before we close, Brian, go ahead and tell people who are listening how they can get in touch with you and learn more about Recovery Alaska.
Yeah, you can call here at the church and talk to either Don or myself at 333-6535, or you can go to our website, which is recoveryabt.org. So recoveryabt.org.
Excellent. And anybody that's listening that might want more information about serving in that capacity to help these women's support group, please contact Brian, get more information, and see what might be available and how you could serve this awesome ministry right here at the Anchorage Baptist Temple, Recovery, Alaska. I appreciate it. We want to thank you so much for joining us today for another Living Well program. And again, you can find us here every Wednesday at 1 p.m. on KATB 89.3 in Anchorage, as well as KJLP 88.9 in Palmer. You can also listen online live at katb.org, as well as check out our Facebook page at Living Well Radio, or download our podcast and listen later on iTunes. We look forward to joining you again next Wednesday.